How do you take a nice looking tomato plant like this and go from the sweet sanctity of down here in this nice cozy little grow room I got going down, heated, no wind, no elements. How you take this guy and bring him outside to where he will not die off within a matter of days? Hey everybody, Doug Crock Gardener here. Let's take a look at how many factors are involved with taking your plants outside and getting them out of the grow room and into the real world, if you will. That process is called hardening off your plants. Basically, it makes them, these things right now, these guys are just little softies. They are not up to their full potential. So they need to be hardened up, if you will. So we're going to go through on why you need to harden up your plant, what causes these guys to fail if you do not harden off your plants. We're going to go over the steps that it's going to take for you guys to get these guys outside properly. How do you do this? How do you harden off a plant? We're going to go through all those steps. And then lastly, I'm going to show you some tips on how to do this more effectively, maybe in the lazy gardener way, or give you guys ideas on what I do to get these done. First off, let's start off with why we need to harden off these plants. That real world is harsh. If you guys haven't been out there, oh my gosh, everything is harsh out there. I'm not talking about politics. I'm not talking about people. I'm not talking about work. I'm talking about the elements, the natural elements, the natural world. It is harsh. And if you've been inside all your life, you're gonna have some problems when you get out there. So you need to be acclimated slowly. The first thing that's gonna really harm these plants is gonna be the sun. Now, if you go down here in my grow room, I do have some pretty good shop lights down here, but they have not near the harshness of the sun. If you do some brightness tests, you'll see how much brighter it is outside than it is down here in my grow room with my shop lights. That sun can potentially burn those plants up. You'll see little spots on there. They'll get a sunburn. So you want to be very cautious of that. Also, that sun right now, I have a schedule where my plants are on these lights on a click on 16 hours. After 16 hours, they click off, and then they're off for 8 hours. So you need to get these guys on a schedule. If that's what you were used to your whole life, when you got to change, that's going to be something that's going to be harsh on them as well. Right now, our sunrise is about 6:08 a.m. and then our sunset is at 6:38 a.m. and that's a gradual change. So getting them out there for these periods of different gradual changes, that will help them to be a more familiar with their surroundings. Now, this is not something that's quite as important, but it's something that you got to kind of take into consideration, especially when you're talking about the sun. The length of our day also here is only like 14 hours and 36 minutes. So what's going to happen is you're going to have a more intense ray beating down on these guys for a shorter period of time. So they got to kind of get used to that as well. The next element, which is a huge one for me because I have very little trees and structures around me, it's down to a minimal, is the wind. The wind will take these plants and they will push them over and they will blow them. Sometimes they'll even pop those stems if you're not careful. So you got to be very, very conscious of the wind. Yeah, you can try to simulate it down in your grow room with getting a fan, but that's usually a constant wind or it's at specific intervals and it's the same speed every time. The plant's going to get used to that as well. The wind here today, we got up to 30 miles per hour gusts today. I was taking that plant, just pushing it over. So you guys got to be cognizant of the wind. The stems need it's a conditioning for the stems. The stems, as much as they get pushed over, they get stronger and stronger and stronger. It's kind of like us. If we exercise, the more we exercise, which I'm not one to talk, the more we exercise, the more we get stronger. So we need to keep that in consideration. So what we need to do is we don't want to start off running a marathon right away. We're going to start off by running in spurts if we want to. So we're going to show you how to do that here in a little bit. The third and final thing, the reason why these plants need to be having an adjustment is the temperature. Right now in my grow room, it is a constant probably 65 to 70 degrees down here in this basement. It is a little cooler than what most grow rooms are, but I do have heat mats. So it is a little bit raised up temperature. Right now we're experiencing anywhere from 30 to 40 degree swings. I mean, it can get down to 40 up to 75. So we got to have those temperatures and stuff. We're going to expose them every so once in a while to those temperatures, so that way they get used to it. Got to give these plants the best opportunity they can. You spent months and months. I probably have these guys have probably been down here for 2.5 months. I mean, you can tell that's a pretty big plant there. But these guys have been down here for 2.5 months probably, and we just want to be careful so that we don't waste that 2.5 months that we spent on growing these plants, right? So we want to make sure we're cognitive of all these elements that are out there. Next on our list, how do you harden off a plant? So the process is rather simple. And the way I do it is basically I take my plants outside and I will take them out and put them outside for an hour. Day one. Day one is just simply an hour. I take them outside, put them outside for an hour. Now I do kind of watch the weather and the elements that I just talked about in terms of sun and wind and the temperature. I do take those in consideration. So if it's an extremely windy day, I may only have them out there for 15 minutes. But what I tend to do is I like to start on a good day and have them out there for an hour. A good day being, maybe a cloudy day with little wind. I do like to have them out there for an hour. And then I typically will take them in and let them sit inside the rest of the day. Let them party and chill back after they had their workout. The next day, day 2, I'll double the time. I'll do it 2 hours. Day 3, I'll do it 4 hours. I'll bring them out. Day 4 will be 8 hours. Day 5, 16. And guess what? By day 6, they're going to be out there full time. If you do it right and the elements are right. That's not something that you can just take to heart. If you have an extremely windy day, you got a hailstorm or something like that, you're definitely going to take these guys in. You're not going to want to chance it. Just keep them safe as best you can. Kind of watch things. If you take them out and leave them out in that windstorm, you're going to probably have some problems. Even on day 3, you might want to kind of baby them a little bit. So that's kind of my process on doing this. You want to definitely let that weather dictate your schedule. So what I have here for tips, what kind of tips can I give you on hardening off? Well, I already mentioned one. Once you watch the weather. For your first few days, if you got a bunch of cloudy days where that wind is relatively low, put them outside those days. You don't have to worry about the sun. You don't have to worry about that wind knocking it over. You just can get those guys out there. You can probably sneak longer than an hour if that's okay. Just kind of monitor them, see how they're doing. That'd be one of the things that's probably the top tip I can give you is pay attention to that weather. Just don't put them out there to put them out there for an hour because Doug said to put them out there for an hour. Don't do that. Pay attention to that weather. The other tip I can give you that is extremely important is when you put them outside, that water level and the moisture level in that soil is going to drop because you got wind going on there, and that wind is going to cause you to have some moisture issues. So make sure you're paying attention and make sure you got to keep those guys watered as much as possible. Make sure they're not drying out. I shouldn't say as much as possible. Just make sure that they're not drying out, and if they look a little droopy, make sure that you give them the appropriate amount of water. Third thing I got to tell you is watch your pets. 2 years ago, I had a bunch of cabbages. These things were looking so nice, and I put them outside, and I wasn't thinking. And I have who is now a 3-year-old golden doodle. She was a year at the time. She thought those cabbages were the funnest toys to play with. She had them all scattered out all over the lawn. You can talk about like probably a month of time wasted. That was just wasted time. So watch your pets. Watch your special friends. I love the dog to death, but man, I was so frustrated with her that day. The other thing is watch your kids, watch your other family members. If you got potential for I put mine out in the driveway. You have potential for a basketball to hit these plants. That's something that they're not used to down in the basement, down in the grow room. That's going to demolish it. So put them in a safe place is essentially what I'm saying. You may have other elements like birds or rabbits or something like that may come up and try to munch on them at a convenient location that you have. So just kind of keep that in mind. Another location another tip I can give it to you is put these in a location where it's going to make it easy to pull in and pull out. I have probably maybe 10, 12 trays. Not just, I have probably 18 of these in one tray, but I have probably like 10 or 12 trays outside that I'm moving in and out, in and out. 6 days, that gets a little old, especially if I have to carry them from one spot to another. I don't put these out in the garden right away. I put them by my garage door, and I move them in the garage door and out the garage door. Makes it pretty simple. As a matter of fact, this weekend, I knew I wasn't going anywhere, so I just put them on top of my truck and on the tailgate of the truck. I backed the truck out. When it was time, I pulled it back in the garage. Next day, backed the truck out, pulled it back in the garage. I am a plant genius, let me tell you. Made life so much simpler. Probably why I'm getting this little gut on me. I'm not working as hard, and I'm thinking smarter, I guess. So try to make things easy on yourself. Also have a water source close by that you can water these, because that's going to be another thing that you're going to want to do. If it's overly windy in a spot, maybe put a wind block up if you don't have any way of getting them out, and you need to get these out and get these going. Try using something for a wind block if you have to. And just simply, like I said, playing your days with the weather. On the planting day, what you can do is you want to find a calm, cloudy day would be best, especially if they haven't been exposed to much sun. But if they have been exposed to the sun, a calm day would be ideal. Sometimes, and I learned this trick from my grandfather also, on a planting day, when you go to plant these guys, if you take a coffee can, this is a really old coffee can, and you put it in the soil like that, that's going to help that plant from the wind. So my grandpa always had coffee cans around his plants, and I never really fully understood why until I started doing a little bit of research on this stuff. So let's say if I bury this guy deep, he's going to be in there like that. But that keeps the wind off of it, and it also keeps it a little bit warmer in there at night. So that didn't know why he used a coffee can. I've used coffee cans before only because Grandpa used them. My dad used them. That's why he uses coffee cans. It's all starting to click up here. So that's probably one of the extra bonus tips I can give you. So if you wanted to see what I have all planted and what I'm going to get ready to harden off this year, why don't you go check out one of my old videos. I got a couple videos of me down here in the grow room planting stuff. A couple of them, Kid Crocker in there with me in those. Go check those out. As a matter of fact, I'll try to put one up, one of these spots up here, baby, and we'll get you a video for you guys to see. Let's have a discussion down below in those comments. Do you guys harden off your plants? What is your process that you use for harden off your plants? Do you got any cool tips like the whole coffee can idea? To me, that's just phenomenal. So you guys let me know down in the comments what your little tips are for this. So I am also getting ready to plant my tomatoes this weekend. I know it might be a little bit of a far-fetched, but I'm going to plant them, try to get them in the ground. So you guys want to see me get these guys in the ground and see how my process on planting these guys, how I do this, how deep do I plant them, where I plant them, what I'm going to do with them all. If you guys want to see that, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications, and you guys will be notified when that video comes out. Stay tuned, guys. Cheers and God bless.